next, you won't believe what's going to happen.
It's time for the PowerShell Podcast, the podcast for PowerShell and the PowerShell community. The PowerShell Podcast is a PDQ production, making device management simple, secure, and pretty damn quick. And now, here's your host, Andrew Pla.
Welcome to another episode of the PowerShell Podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Pla, at Andrew Pla Tech on all socials. And if you've been following me, you've been seeing a ton of clips coming out from the podcast lately. It's been super fun. Thanks to everybody who's liked, commented, subscribed, found something that resonated with you. And maybe you saw one of those clips and you're here with us now for a special bar session. So if you didn't know, occasionally at every conference I go to, I like to record bar sessions, which are recorded oftentimes at a bar. Oftentimes drinks are flowing. I actually have nothing in front of me, unfortunately. I would at least like a water, but we'll get to that later. No, I am not going to drink that expired beer, but I have a very special guest, actually a multitude of guests in store for you tonight. But yeah, the bar sessions are a little bit more cash. You know, we'll still talk a little bit of stuff, but we might get a little bit more loose. And just a heads up, it's okay if you curse, but no F-bombs ideally, and you know, tastefully. We'll have to bleep it usually. It's family friendly in terms of words. But very special guest today, Jeffery Hayes. Welcome to the PowerShell Podcast Bar Session, Spiceworld 2025 Austin, Texas edition.
Thank you for coming to my hometown and having me here. Thanks for PDQ for letting me join Spiceworld. Sorry.
Yep, Spiceworks at Spiceworld.
This is my second Spiceworld. It's pretty fun. A lot more low key than the last one I was at. It was in 2019, but I've learned a bunch on just how AI is headed in the future and some things I did not know existed. Which has been interesting. Home assistants, which have a robotic element in your home that a human is operating on the other end.
Okay, nice, interesting.
That and if y'all did not know, I met Andrew when he was cutting his teeth, I would say, at his first PowerShell conference.
Oh, yeah.
I think this in Redmond. It was my second conference, I want to say. And I met
2018.
him. Yeah, 2018.
Yep.
And he was just really, really gung-ho, reading the book. I think when we're at the conference, he got the Month of Lunches book.
Month of Lunches,
and he was like, dude, I'm reading about error logging and everything else. And I'm like, wait. You, really? Okay. Because I have the book and I still need to, dedicate the time. But he was all in and dived in fully. And, now seeing you on the, host of the podcast, I'm
man.
This is awesome.
Dude, it's been trippy for me, man. Episode 200 came out this week, as I was at Spiceworld in Austin, Texas, and, getting to touch base with you, because you were one of those first, allies. If I go to a conference, I like to find people who I can, connect with and, feel safe with and enjoy it, and that was definitely you for multiple conferences, actually, after that. So, yeah, dude, it's wild to, reminisce on that, and 2018 is actually the year where I got a scholarship to attend, if you recall. So,
they had Spice Buddies, that's right.
Yeah,
whatever the...
No, it's actually, there's no on-ramp at DevOps and PowerShell Global Summit. So, yeah, dude, I got a scholarship to go, and now I am on the, I don't know what you call it, but I volunteer with PowerShell.org. I'm the Director of Community Engagement and, helping make the experience good for other people and kind of coming full circle there and getting to see you where I knew you before you had kids, and now... Yeah, big
Don
kids,
Jones,
dude.
One of the things he was talking about, on people, is, how people just fall off because they get busy. And I was like, what do you mean they get busy? No, I fully know what they mean. I had 2 kids and, there's not a lot of free time with that, and now they're one starting kindergarten. It's okay, get back out there. And
and life's going to be like that sometimes. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's why I tell people, it's not a race. Don't compare yourself to others, because you're going to be in this career for a while. If you really want a promotion now, push for it and you can make it happen. But realize that if other stuff in your life is not aligned, you can't just squeeze a towel if there's no more, you know what I mean?
Very, very
no more
true.
Juice to squeeze, so to speak.
And is that promotion worth the headache that's going to come with it, right?
Yeah. But I think a big point is hey, if you were in that spot where really a little bit of increase in your pay could be substantial for you, well, hey, you're listening to the PowerShell Podcast, adopt PowerShell, start automating a bunch of stuff, show a bunch of value, you're going to be in a way better spot, and you're going to have a better understanding of IT as well.
And that is exactly what I did when I started out. I've been with the city, I want to say, since 2013. I started out as basically a tech on the phone, right? You'd call and you'd push option 2 because you couldn't print. log in your computer remotely, and I was like, oh, hey, your print spooler service is stopped. Like, I'm gonna restart this. Oh, you fixed it, I can print, like, all right, yay. Fast forward to today, like we had on-prem Exchange, and one of the things I helped do before we got rid of that was write up the process in which happens when a user leaves the org, because we have to move it into a different OU, have to back up the mailbox, all this other stuff, log the groups that they were in, everything else. Well, that helped drastically cut down on time of those tasks, because instead of it taking hours, because everything was individualized, like run a script, 30 minutes later the ticket's done, Bob's your uncle.
Yep.
Management saw that, and then still, I'm one of the few people in my group that when there's a vendor or something that wants a PowerShell script run, they're like, hey Jeff, can you look at this and see what it does? And I'm like, okay, yeah. Why isn't it working? Well, because we have to install a module or something, which is, it's super simple, but not everyone is at that level in my org, and I'm that guy.
Yeah, you took the initiative to push a little bit further than you had to, right? You don't. Well,
naturally, I want to figure out why something works the way it works or it doesn't. I don't think that is something you can teach, sadly, right?
Honestly, here's my thing. I am lazy as crap. You think I want to do the same thing forever, dude? I'm trying to save myself time and come up with a system that works. And if you can learn to automate and script, well, all of a sudden you can actually make progress on your environment, your job, whatever you got going on. You can't really without it. There's a lot of opportunities in your career where you can step forward and learn some kind of annoying technology that would really benefit you, but nobody else has really taken the initiative. PowerShell is for sure one of those. You got things like regex, another great example, PKI, Entra ID, authentication, REST APIs. There's all these opportunities all around the place for you to differentiate yourself. And I think that it's cool that people are on the PowerShell podcast, but depending on what vertical you're in, PowerShell is one of them, but there might be other opportunities for you to demonstrate that same thing.
Well, and I feel like PowerShell is the middleman between so much of the other stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's the glue, duct tape.
I do not know web hosting and all that stuff very well, right? Or even trying to scrape information from a website. But I remember, I know PowerShell.
Yep.
I know invoke web request, right? Yes. I know how to use the tools and be because all I need to do is get data down from a website and something.
And it gives you an object. You can poke around and look at the properties and see what's going on.
Then I can find something that I think Matisse wrote or something for how to scrape websites and stuff and follow the thing. Okay.
Yeah. No. Yeah. And once you adopt that pattern of just there's a problem, let me break it down into some small steps. Take those small steps, write it down if you have to. It's really not that much, but if you look at it as a big thing, it's oh crap, you're gonna learn all of PowerShell and how to write a module and how to do all these words you don't even know yet.
Yeah, because all the different for each or
Oh yeah.
For each object or for each, right? Different
so many things, parameters, dealing with objects for the first time potentially. For sure, you got to focus on the small ones. And good thing about PowerShell, maybe other technologies less so, but PowerShell, you can get a ton of value from knowing not that much. You run one command, holy crap, that could have taken you 10 clicks, could have saved you 5 minutes.
Well, great use cases. So over the years, I've gotten I'll get the tickets that I think that no one else will grab, right? They'll just sit in the queue, and it's some of my favorites are some users I can't find a file, right? There are these files that were in this UNC folder path suddenly the folder's gone, right? And you're what was the name of the folder? Oh, it was my project 20 whatever, right? Well, PowerShell, I can do a recursive search on that directory and look for the directories that match the folder name. So I remember one time I spent probably 10 minutes writing the script to look on the group a department's group drive, because there's tons of them, and found the folder, and it literally all they did was they moved it from the root directory down 2 folders.
Yep.
And they're oh my god, you saved the day. And I know if I would have sent that to the help desk or somebody else, right, they would have been oh, it has to be restored, it has to go to this team, and they got to go and restore it, and there was a time, and I was it's right here, just
If you are not that person in your org right now who's bought in and trying to push good practices and learn PowerShell, well, hopefully you have someone else who is and is mentoring you. If you don't, get connected with the community and find somebody who's been there and done that and can give you perspective and save you a lot of headache. And for me, it was super helpful to have somebody who was like understanding that I was trying to grow in my career and they could reassure me. Because it can be hard to learn new stuff sometimes, dude. And if it doesn't go your way, maybe you also don't get enough sleep one night, like, you know, and all of a sudden you take a break from doing things for like a week or two and then your patterns change and you got to relearn. You know how many times I restarted PowerShell in a month of lunches? You know, got a few chapters in, had to let it sink in again and again and again, you know?
How many times? Like 5?
More than that, dude. It took me a while. Like, but I was dabbling. I was still getting value out of PowerShell. But I was like, yo, really figuring out this pipeline stuff? A little bit over my head. I kind of need to understand objects. And if you don't rush yourself, like, I feel like I got a pretty good understanding of it before I moved on. And again, I was solving problems at work with it. I was piping together commands.
Yeah, no,
I didn't fully understand or couldn't write my own functions at the time. Like, we were messing around. We had some friends who were writing blogs. Tons of people are always writing blogs.
You were writing scripts that interacted with teams and was like, what do I want for lunch? Like, I remember that session. I was like, wait, how do I do that? And then I realized, like, my environment's GCC tenant for Office 365. We can't do webhooks in Teams. I was like, oh.
Okay. But then you know what I did after that? I actually wrote the back end for Poshbot for Teams.
Nice.
Because it was a class-based thing, so I wrote the like classes for if you selected teams. It was actually really confusing for me at the time. Like, it was one of those things where it's something I'd never done before. I hadn't really done much stuff in that area at all. I had to sort of break it down and just take it one step at a time because it literally was out of my reach. And once you kind of break it down and start looking at it and give it yourself time to kind of get in the zone a little bit, it's a lot easier. But for me, it can take me like 30 minutes to get settled in and be able to do something that's simple, depending on like if it's a new project or something like that, which it absolutely was. Classes were new to me. Creating an application, I don't remember what it was called, but some kind of multi-step process. Creating a queue in Azure and connecting it all. But yeah, it was cool in the end. I gave some talks about it. I think PowerShell on the River.
Yeah,
you were there. That was it. Yeah,
I have the photo on my phone. There
dude,
was like, you know,
ChatOps is so fun. I think that there's other tools that have sort of replaced the need for as much of that these days. Like there's a lot of integrated ChatOps and stuff like that.
But I feel like that stuff's good for like in-house like solutions and stuff because like I deal with like a big org, right? And we're still in our infancy on some things of like monitoring and everything else. And like somebody was like, hey, we want to monitor like a web connection for this service or for this computer to like outside web. And I was like, okay, what do you need it to do when it doesn't work? You know, just send an email, okay? Like, here's a PowerShell script that will like hit and ping Google. Like, if it's down, like we have an internal like SMTP relay server. Like, we can just send it this way, and it totally worked. Instead of spending the cost on like a fully pressed monitoring solution for something that's just like interim, right? You know.
Dude, I want to bring up something you mentioned earlier, and we can sort of close on this maybe. You mentioned earlier recursively looking at folders and doing some stuff with files or what. There's a bunch of use cases at businesses to do that, or even in your personal life if you got a collection of DVDs or whatever. You could look up a tool that could do something like that. There's probably tools that like will do that for you, and you could learn a GUI and it probably does it.
I mean, I could use folder and search, right?
You could, to a certain extent. You could manually do it that way, yeah. But I bet there's a tool probably that does it in some, and you could learn that tool, or you could do it manually and spend like 4 hours. Or, hear me out, you could maybe spend a little bit more time initially. Maybe it'll be like a bigger project for you ultimately. But you can actually learn to do it in PowerShell. And then all of a sudden, that get child item thing that we use to like look for files and folders, oh shoot, that can be used for all kinds of things. It's child item, it's not file or folder. So you can take what you've learned there and apply it to something else. And now when you need to solve a similar-ish problem, you don't need to learn crap. You already know pretty much everything, and it's a lot easier.
I can give you other use cases. Like, let's say your organization wants to know if you have any PST files on any storage shares. Or,
PST files? Oh, people don't have those.
Like, oh, no, my org's got
No,
tons.
everyone does.
Like,
a lot of people are dealing with huge PSTs and, like, legacy stuff.
Fun fact, though, if you use OneDrive and your users sync your PSTs and you don't have a default or a previous versions policy set, that 10 gig file can become 300 gigs. Ask me how I know.
Oh, man.
That's what I was dealing with today during lunch.
Oh, that's fun. That is always exciting.
OneDrive was too big, and it was the client synced from the desktop the PSTs, and default policy is to sync, like have like 100 different versions of that file as a backup, right? It's still infancy on some things because governance.
Yeah. Oh, man. Let's give us a little tip for the people here. What's one takeaway or one thing you've learned and would like to share with those amazing listeners who are enjoying this bar session right now? Give them some Jeffery wisdom, that legendary, Jeffery, the wisdom he imparted in me in 2018 is why you're hearing me today. So Jeffery, hit him with it, man. Let's give him something to work with. Cook, baby.
I mean, I would say don't be afraid to ask for help. Like, probably that's my biggest struggle. And in my org, I will be honest, like, there's not many people I have, like, that are mentors in the sense of I can say, hey, I'm working on this problem. Do you know, like, this? But on the community, there's tons, like, on PowerShell.org, like, I've asked questions there before and gotten tons of help.
Yep.
Or even, coming to conferences like this and just going, oh, hey, you use Intro ID too? Okay, how do y'all deal with this?
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Because as the landscape is, always changing, there's new problems and new avenues of, you need the P2 license for this, so you get, solve this problem of permissions with, just-in-time access, basically.
Yep. Dude, ask questions. That's such a great one. And it's so funny how something so easy, quote unquote, right? Like something that should be really easy can make such a profound impact, and yet it's still really hard. I have dealt with that many times where it's like, dude, it's like, I don't want to be an idiot. Like, what if I'm wrong? Like, I should know this, that.
And like, I'd also say, don't be afraid to like say, I don't know, but I'm going to find that out.
Yes.
Like, I find the most like smartest people that I know and met aren't the people that are like, oh yeah, like you ask them a question and it's like, oh, this is the answer. Like, no, they're usually the ones that are like, I'm not certain, but let me figure that out for you and get back with you. Like when somebody tells me that, I know like they're going to actually like figure it out instead of just, like a sales guy is like, yeah, no, our product can do all this and everything else, right?
Yep.
They promise you the moon and then they give,
Yep, you got to be real. And don't try and fool yourself or fool anybody or appear that you're better than you are. It can be hard to do that if you're in like an environment or whatever where you don't feel safe to be wrong. I think more and more places are sort of being okay with like, no blame retrospectives kind of thing. Like, kind of makes sense to not just blame a person. Maybe look at the system sometimes. There might be some exceptions to that here and there.
No, it's so true. Like one of my most like profound moments in IT is I started out as a vendor for Hart Hanks as it was called BPOSD, but it was basically Office 365. But back then it was for companies like Blockbuster, Energizer, and what Microsoft would do is they'd host and provide you with your email services, SharePoint, all this other stuff that now we know is Office 365, but they called it BPOSD. But one of the big things was when a customer called in, you wanted to make sure like you associated the ticket with that customer, right? Like different customers, right? Customer calls in from the state of California, and I was like, okay, like you're the USDA, right? Because state, like I really screwed up, right? Like I made a security incident, right? Data from that organization was in the wrong one, ticketing system, they could see it, right? Big deal, it becomes like a whole like process where like we have to go through and like notify the customer, the other customer, everything else. Like I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna get fired. I just started this job, I was cutting my teeth, learning, all about Exchange Online, or actually Exchange Management Shell, not online at the time. And like my boss was very much like, hey, it happens, we got your back, everything else. And from that moment, I became less worried about making a mistake and more about like figuring out things. And I found in that moment, like I was less likely to make a mistake like that because of just, I wasn't super nervous and worried about it, right?
Yep. No, that's huge, man. And I've had as I've grown in my career, I've had I'm in a different spot in terms of how comfortable I feel asking questions. I feel incredibly comfortable now. What you said earlier, like whenever someone asks questions and says like, hey, I don't know that. Yeah, I can tell you. We mentioned 200 episodes of the podcast. At this point, I have like a pretty decent understanding of like a lot of people. Yeah, if you tell people you don't know when you actually don't know, guess what? The people who are successful that you'll want to be impressing will be impressed. And if you try and bluff, the people who you will be trying, it won't work. You have to be real.
Yeah.
And even if you're a super beginner, I love seeing super beginners who are okay asking questions that may initially seem to them as like, oh, this is a too beginner of a question. No. You are going to rapidly increase the rate that you grow by asking questions. And it's so wild how incredible, even questions of like, just, hey, someone messaged me a while ago of like, hey, am I ready to blog? Shout out to Morton. Am I ready to do a presentation? Like, when do I know? And they just asked that question, right? Yeah. And I just said, yeah, you're ready now. If you have something you've done with PowerShell, you're ready to talk about it. And guess what? He went forward from there. You just don't get too stuck in your own head, I want to bring up a couple other things. And in this time, like why I feel safe asking questions, because like met a ton of people, got to talk to them. I understand sort of their strengths, weaknesses, their why. And I've come to find out that everyone's really quite kind and they embrace the thing we're talking about. It's not like you and I are the only two out here who are like okay with people asking questions or, being vulnerable in that way. We're not going to lash out. We actually see it as a good opportunity to teach. But yeah, it's just odd that it hasn't been that way historically, but like in other communities. But PowerShell has really head down into that kind of thing and has seen the value, I guess, from the impact and influence of DevOps. I think that influenced a lot of that sort of, non-blame retrospective-esque type thing.
I also think it's like a culture thing, or like maybe it's just like an age thing. Like I work with some, like I'm more of the younger in, my group, right? I'm 38, right? But I have some people who are more towards retirement, and they're like, there's always the help desk or the service desk, and I feel like they're always the piñata that gets hit, right, and blamed. And some of it absolutely, like, why are you sending me an Outlook ticket, like, when you guys should be able to solve this? But I digress. But some of my colleagues are more like, I feel like they're a bit envious of like how easy some of the things are that the people are dealing with now, right? Versus like back when they started, right? Like they had to figure all this stuff out. There wasn't no AI, there wasn't no Google, right? It was a trial and error. And I feel that the younger people in IT are more like, I feel like sometimes they're scared to make mistakes, if that makes sense. Like they're scared to push the buttons to try to figure out the products or the things. Like, which I get, like it can be scary, but I feel like by doing that, you're not going to learn as much, right? Like I remember another mistake I made, I plugged in a network port on the loop back of a switch and brought down like the floor in that area when I was an intern at the state. It was a 5-minute ordeal, but I learned that, oh, hey, those little ports on the end, that like the little 4, that was for the switch.
Boom. Well, great interview, Jeffrey. So great to catch up, man. So glad that you're doing well. So wild that it worked out this way. Next time I'm in Austin, I'll have to hit you up as well. Hopefully see you at a couple conferences here. Seriously, congrats on all the successes. And man, we're kind of old now, but hey, we still got a long road in front of us.
Oh, yeah.
But it's odd to go from like being so green and young in 2018 and now being able to reflect back on a lot of memories. Whenever I was at that very early age, I didn't know that I was going to have a career that would be having relationships like this, where it's like, I've known people for a while. I've seen them grow. I'm not alone on this kind of journey where life's changing and things come up, and sometimes I have, just like you were mentioning, like sometimes I have more energy to give. Other times things kind of blow up sometimes in life, and you maybe have to pull back on what you can and can't do. But ultimately, we're all in this together, and it's a long journey ahead of us, unless you struck it rich. So shout out to you if you're tapping out. But most of us are going to be in our careers for a while, so
we take
better to do it together. Check us out on the PDQ Discord, discord.gg/PDQ. PowerShell scripting channel, PowerShell Wednesdays, every single Wednesday, including this Wednesday. Jeffrey checked it out. Jeffrey, are you big on socials? Should I plug you so publicly?
I mean, you can. Like I run, like hectic and always like a bunch of things on. I am on the Twitters, or I guess it is the X now.
Yeah, it's been a while, man.
I think I'm on Blue Socials, whatever it is.
Blue Sky. Blue Sky. Yeah, send me your stuff and I'll include it in the show notes.
Right.
Awesome. Thank you.
Always love like reading other blogs and learning things new. So.
Dude, learning. That's one guarantee in IT. But see you tomorrow, my good friend. We have a lot of a night ahead of us.
Listen. And now, back to the PowerShell Podcast.
Another PowerShell Podcast bar session. I am joined tonight with Steven Engler, who was listening to our interview with Jeffrey earlier. We were reminiscing a little bit. We had to move locations. Things are popping off. The vibes are popping. I think after this, people are going to another location for some piano or something. I don't know. It's Steven Engler. Welcome to the PowerShell Podcast. How are you doing here?
Amazing to be here, and congratulations on 200 episodes, man. That's awesome.
Thanks, dude. It's been fun. My favorite part is I get to celebrate with people like you, my people, right?
Heck yes.
Fellow IT folks. And it's cool because we actually met earlier this year.
We did, yeah. Tech Mentor up in Redmond.
Like 2 months ago or something? Or not too long ago.
2.5 months, yeah.
Yeah, a couple. I think. Yeah, Marcus was there as well. Marcus is here.
Yep.
Yeah, it's. I think. How did you hear? I know I posted somewhere. We had some tickets to give away for Spiceworld. Where was it?
I didn't know you had tickets at all. So at Tech Mentor, you were literally doing Podcast Wednesday behind me as I was in between sessions. And I was talking to somebody at work, and I was like, this dude is so on point that he's at this conference and doing a podcast right behind me. And then we met up and did some whiskey later. And then I just remembered that you did the PowerShell podcast, started following you on the socials and the Discord and everything. And I did not know you had tickets. I just pled my case to the internet.
I'm going to look up your message because I think you posted it in the PowerShell channel.
I did.
PDQ Discord. That's discord.gg/PDQ. It is just honestly fun. It's the best way for, if you're into these vibes, you want the support that we're always talking about, come join us there. But your message in here from, can I dox your online name?
Dox me online, man.
Call me PH. If you're in the PDQ Discord, it's Call Me PH. And let's see what you said. Okay, here, yeah. I was talking about trying to get people to come, and you said, jealous, close-ish to Austin Austin here in OKC, but lost the war trying to convince the boss to foot the tickets cost next year. And all I had to offer was a free ticket.
And that was the offer enough.
Dude, it was meant to be.
A battle when people don't know that most of my fixes come from Spiceworld. So when I'm like, no, listen, do you know that problem I fixed last month? It's because of this forum. And I want to go to this conference.
Yep, and you've gone to multiple conferences now, so
I have, yeah.
You must see the value in it. What for you is the value?
For me, the value, especially now, I've been in this world for a very long time, since we were worried about baud rates and our monitors were as deep as the table we're in front of. And I've found that it is the conferences that give you a connection and learning, and that is, to me, you're not going to beat that. I can't just sit around OKC and meet the people with the knowledge, the depth of knowledge to move me forward. Even as an old gray wizard, somebody knows more than me, and somebody's going to be able to push me forward. And that's why these things are just phenomenal.
Absolutely. I think people who have seen it and see the impact in this scale of conference where you can actually, I see you in most rooms we go to. If I look around, oh, there he is, and we can walk up and say hi. If you go to huge conferences, it's really hard to do that. You have to be very proactive to plan things, and kind of usually just doesn't work out unless you're a social butterfly of some sort. But like this size, you can actually meet people, socialize, find your equivalent in another company.
Yeah.
Right? Because maybe the people you work with aren't bought into the same things or work on the same stuff.
100%.
Can't give you that perspective. And you come here, you could meet somebody who maybe their company is 10 times bigger and they've gone through this problem 5 times and they've done it every wrong way. And now the 6th time they got it right.
And I've actually had those conversations with people who are, like, I'm in a very small shop, like 2-hand shop. And I've talked to people who have gone through some problems that I'm having, and they're like, oh yeah, like they're 150 people deep, but they have that answer. They have just that one little tidbit of information that I'm not going to get because there's only 9 more people in my office and they don't know anything.
Yep.
Not that they don't know anything, but they don't know what I'm looking for.
Yeah, for that particular problem, for sure. No, it's so massively helpful to have that. And I think these days with technology and information and documentation where it is, a lot of skills can be learned online, but it's knowing where to look. It's knowing what the actual use cases are, what's going to lead you the right or wrong direction. And when you're connected with other people who actually do it, it's a lot easier.
Oh, 100%. I can find any command I could possibly want on the internet, but if I don't know what it's going to do or how it's going to react, just because you ask ChatGPT how to do X doesn't mean that when you do X, you're not going to take your entire system down and generate a really bad resume. Yeah, 100%.
Yep. No, I think that happens, unfortunately, a little bit too often these days. What's it been like for you to see, you mentioned being in IT in this world for a while. Like, what's it been like for you to see things change over the years? So I talk on the podcast a lot about the importance of collaboration and how, DevOps was so transformative for a lot of things. There's a ton of money behind making software, right?
We're not on video, and I'm going to tell you something that's pretty amazing is, as an old graybeard, there was not the possibility to be around people like Sean and Steven, Sean who's sitting down right behind me. There wasn't that possible, like, wasn't that possibility.
Yeah.
And now I've been with Sean and Steven at 2 conferences in less than 90 days to learn information that, I mean, unless you were in a clique way back in the day, in the early 90s, you weren't going to be able to sit next to Sean and learn anything he had to do, unless you happened to be at Microsoft and happened to know Sean and that wasn't a thing that happened. And now this is prevalent. Like this is the way of the future, and I am both jealous and in awe at the same time.
Yeah, no, I think it's wild, and with the DevOps thing, it's like all of a sudden, I think the biggest takeaway that I see from it is like all of a sudden collaborating is like, oh, that's the solution, is like we just have to talk.
You can't, especially coming up with me. Like you had the wizards, you had those guys you always went to your answer to, but they would only give you the answer. They would not tell you how they knew it. They would not tell you how to ever get there. They would just be like, oh yeah, go, here's this, do that. And now it is, that generation is finally like, no, here's this, and here's how I know that, and here's how you can find it. Here's how you can develop, and here's how you can be this star and not have to worry about somebody who's been in the industry for 30 years.
Yeah, it's pretty wild to see that it took a while, but now it seems like it's more common that we understand that community and collaboration are good. And I think it's not like a selfless thing, like, oh, now people are nice. It's like, no. I guess we've all matured and seen that, like, it's actually in the best interest for almost every single reason, if you're thinking any term that's not super short term, to collaborate, to share knowledge, to empower others.
100%. It doesn't, you're no longer, you don't want to die on the only hill you have. Like,
No.
you're not going to, nobody wants to leave their job and be like, they're screwed because they don't know 30% of what I do, and when I leave, they're done. Like, nobody wants to be that person anymore. And I feel like that's, in the older times, there were a lot of people who wanted that. They're like, if you fire me, you're done.
Your scripts aren't going to work at all.
Yeah, nothing's going to work. You don't know where anything's pointed. You don't know this. You don't know that.
Yep.
Now it's the legacy is I've taught all of these people how to do X, Y, Z, and that's where it's at. And I love it. I love it. I think it's phenomenal. The community is something that I have not seen in a very long time, and I am very there for it.
Yeah, but it kind of reminds me of like open source. It's like within your teams, sharing information. Like we're not on the same teams. We obviously work at different companies and do different things, but collaborating there. And the understanding of like, if you make those, the general IT person better, it's going to make everything better. It's going to make things more secure.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause security is kind of a huge issue.
Huge issue.
Huge. And you can really take advantage from helping out another company.
Yeah.
Helping out public resources, open source stuff.
And what's funny is I remember coming up that open source in the olden times was a 4-letter word. If you're open source, you're asking for trouble. And now open sourcing everything is just, it is what it is. And if you're not here doing something like this and wanting to learn from people like this, nobody can see me pointing to my left, but if you don't want to do that, you're going to be the IT guy who's replaced in 3 years, because there's somebody younger or somebody more open-minded that is going to want to learn, and they're going to take it from there.
Yep, and through teaching, you can actually really learn a lot better. And all of a sudden have like a better life because you have like more friends. You're not trying to push people away and isolate yourself. There's so many benefits in so many different ways. You won't position yourself against the business, or against the people who are asking for things, because it's not like a generous thing. It's just the best thing to do if you care about your well-being, your future, all these things. You're
not going to be the crotchety old graybeard in an office that nobody wants to talk to because you're angry about giving answers.
Right.
You want to give those answers.
Yeah. And if you're angry about it, they're going to be not so great towards you, and then it's just going to be a vicious cycle.
Yep. 100%.
What's your number one takeaway from what you've learned this week? It could be a random one. I don't know. Don't have to prioritize.
Honestly, it's just to it's going to sound be here and meet these people, and it's one thing to talk to somebody in a forum or in a Discord, but like to actually sit down, like with you, to sit down and have a face-to-face and like become friends and do a thing. Like there's no ceiling to that. So like get here, do the things, take the time. Even if work won't pay for it, come Come and meet these
Invest
people
in
that you
yourself.
talk to all the time. Yeah, like your job is your job. You are you. You have to move forward. Just because your job doesn't want you to do it, come and meet these people. Come and do this. It is invaluable. There are no words to say how invaluable.
Yep,
this
I
is.
tell people that a lot of the time. And you know, sometimes people have like no budgets, or maybe they're earlier in their career, have
Yeah.
other things in life, and you can't. But there are opportunities. PowerShell Wednesdays. There's other virtual meetups. There's also B-sides in a
Yep,
lot of areas.
B-sides,
like
yeah.
you can make a lot of these things happen. You just have to be proactive.
I'm gonna tell you, as somebody who is here because of the grace of our friend Andrew, you don't know who you're gonna meet. I met Andrew in Redmond, not knowing that in 62 days he was gonna give me a ticket for this conference to do a freebie. So like, you don't know who you're gonna meet. You never know who you're gonna meet at any conference. You don't. So just go to the conference, do the thing. You don't know who your next friend is going to be. You don't know who's going to be able to move your career forward.
You really don't.
You just got to go out and do the thing. And I think that is my biggest takeaway from this, is just realize that you're going to put yourself out there and do the thing and meet these people, because
Yep.
it's going to be better for you. It's going to be better for your career.
Yep, and everyone's pretty chill and pretty awesome.
Pretty
like,
chill.
It can feel pretty scary, but once
Yeah.
you take that risk, you're like, oh wait, they're kind of just like me. You
Yeah.
know, we all experience that same kind of fears with different things and doubts.
And as somebody
they're
who
one of
hates
us.
talking to people, like, trust me, like, do the thing. Come out and do it. Like, your first day might be a little weird, but there's going to be an after party, and you're going to have 2 beers, and then you're on a podcast.
Yep.
Just do the thing. I cannot stress it enough. Do the thing, because you will be better for it.
Yep. Don't wait till you have everything figured out, because that's never
100%. Because once you have everything figured out, something like this, you feel it's beneath you, and you're not going to be here.
Yep.
Do the thing. Realize that you don't know everything. There are people who know more than you, and there are people who know more than the people who know more than you. So just come out here and do the thing and meet these people and better yourself.
Yep. And there's also a ton of people who are really wanting to share their knowledge.
100%.
Like a lot of people. There is, I don't know how the ratio is, but like of people who are eager and willing and maybe okay with taking the risk of like asking for help, which
Yeah.
really isn't much of a risk in reality, but it can feel that way for a lot of people. Like there's a shortage of that. So if you're eager to see your situation in life change, maybe have more fun,
Yep.
take ownership of your career and see what can really happen. Maybe meet some cool people. Like,
Meet
to
some cool
me,
people.
You're
Yeah.
gonna maybe a lot of times make more money if you're invested in growing your career.
Grow
and
yourself.
networking.
You can't. Growing yourself will help you grow your bank account. It's just going to be that simple. Just, it's easy to sit in a job where it's, oh, I'm making X money, and it's easy as pie.
Yeah.
But you're going to be X. Like, do you want to be this person? Go out, meet people. You don't know everything. You have to meet people. It sucks, but you have to do it.
Yep. And once you do it for a while, it gets better. But
It does.
It's definitely
Yeah.
kind of,
Yeah.
it's like any muscle. You got to kind of work it. And it really is like a muscle, because you can get better at it.
100%.
You know, even if you're not a people person, over time you can, learn this kind of stuff. And a big takeaway I get from a lot of guests is that what skills are mostly like the biggest bottleneck? It is soft skills and being able
Soft
to
skills.
communicate, and what's going to get you the most money. Like numbers back it up. Emotional intelligence is where it's at.
Especially where we're at today at Spiceworld. They've brought in a lot of the soft skills, the human skills of things. And, people are like, oh, when I first came here, all I did was do 5 sessions and went back to my room. I've been there. I've been that guy who literally has shown up. I've done classes and I've left because I can't. And you realize that you have to do but learn, but you have to meet people. You have to meet somebody who maybe you don't realize they're going to be that important now.
Yeah.
But in 62 days, when they offer you a ticket to Spiceworld, you're going to be like, oh, crap. I'm really glad I talked to you that day. Like, you never know who you're going to meet. You really don't.
Absolutely. Never know what you're going to learn. And,
Yep.
you got to think about the long-term career thing. Like,
Yeah.
I'm excited to know you and see you maybe in 5 years from now.
I'm excited to have heard your talk with Jeffrey and realize where you came from and where you are now.
Yeah.
I mean, I already thought, just knowing the podcast and everything, I was like, holy crap, he's kind of nerd famous. Like, that's a thing. Like, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, what I do is very close to my heart, because like I've been so impacted by it. So like back in 2018, that was a huge transformation. So I became a dad at 19. So there was earning more money was incredibly helpful and impactful. And PowerShell was my pathway to do that and find a supportive community as like a young man who there's not a lot of, in the world, a ton of lonely people.
Oh, yeah.
In IT, even more so. So for me to be able to find all that and support and just like genuinely good people who are also successful that I want to emulate.
Yep.
And then now being on the other side where I've met a ton of people and I see that they are actually all pretty much like me. They're not actually geniuses. They're humans.
Yeah.
They make mistakes. They're good at some things. They're
Just
bad
learning.
at others.
Just learning.
They're one step at a time.
Yeah.
We see the end point. It's like, oh my gosh, it's Sean Wheeler. He's done all this stuff. Dude, it took
like
a long
literally,
time.
like if it's on Microsoft.com, he wrote it. Like, yeah.
Not literally everything, but
Not literally.
figuratively.
98.5%.
He's been busy. But no,
But also, like, if you didn't know Steven, you wouldn't have as many dad jokes.
that is true.
And like that is a niche that I feel like is not hit enough. I've a couple of talks and a couple of podcasts, and I feel like I could probably take a tour. Like, I don't know. I would give him royalties and everything, but
Dude, I think he might be coming out with a book here later. I don't know.
is it?
Steven, man, it's been awesome. I look forward to catching up with you in the future and
Andrew, it
hopefully
has
seeing
been
you
an
around.
absolute pleasure to sit here and talk to you again. This is great.
It's cool because, we're meeting in person now. Maybe not the next, whatever, we're going to see each other again. We're going to see each other online as well.
100%.
So it's kind of cool that it's like, sometimes you get to see people in person. Maybe you can only go to conferences every 2 years, whatever it is. Get some of that face-to-face. There is a benefit for it. Companies like
There is
it.
so much of benefit.
Yep.
Like it is, I mean, just the connection online is one thing, but being able to sit here across the table from you and talk is the takeaway from all of it. Like, just, you have to make that connection.
Yeah, dude, it's one thing I was thinking about is like, I know what the process was like and how scary it was early on. Like, I remember going from even creating my social media handle and like putting my face on it. Dude, I overthought that for so long. Like, that was scary for me at the time.
Yeah.
Coming up with like my LinkedIn, like, what am I going to put for my bullet points and my job? And like, oh, they're going to think I'm just help desk, and I am. But like, oh no, I need to be respected because, not understanding that people just like you because you're a cool person. Like, you don't have to be a genius.
It doesn't matter what your handle is. Nobody cares about your handle. Like, for the most part, that's gone. Like, it's not the early 90s anymore. It's not hackers and, your Dr. Doom or Phantom Freak. It doesn't matter. Your handle's not there anymore. As long as you know you're genuine and can be genuine online and in person and impart some knowledge, that's all that matters at this point.
Dude, it actually did take me time to be able to be genuine. Like, early on, I did some public stuff and I was like, whoa, I'm not like secure enough in myself to be able to be vulnerable like that on public scale. So I retreated for a little bit, and we're all going to take different times to be ready for whatever opportunities. And I really have enjoyed how I've not been mean to myself over how some things have taken a long time. And I think maybe others, if people are out there frustrated, they've tried, waking up at 5 a.m. every day to learn PowerShell for 2 hours. And if you can't make it through that, that's okay. Find what you can do and take those super small wins. Like, create your social media handle, join the Discord, say hi to somebody, whatever
100%.
it is.
And my main goal when we met, we went to Tech Mentor. My main goal going to Tech Mentor was to become more just even base PowerShell familiar.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up early, knew things, but then stopped because they made a nice GUI.
Yeah.
And I could right click and do all of these things. But then I realized that right clicking and enumerating an entire network drive takes a very long time when I'm clicking through a folder, when I can just run 2 commands and it gives me everything I want to do. So yeah.
Absolutely, man. It's so fortunate, man, to see where IT is today. And it's not only IT. There's other communities that are kind of on this vibe of like collaboration and togetherness. And I'm so glad that we get to see it firsthand and be part of it. We're talking to other people and encouraging them to have their experiences. And you're part of that now, man. So
I am. So it's very weird to me, but it's also at the same time, I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah.
I love it. I want to push that forward. So.
Yep. And one thing I like to remind myself is people like you for who you are. And guess what? If you're a genius, that's cool. Yeah. If you're a super noob, that's cool. I think about whenever I give a conference talk, if I do an amazing job, sweet, people will learn. If I do a pretty bad job, people will still probably learn a little bit. And also you'll show people that you can actually have something not go great and be okay at the end of it.
Yep.
There is actually value in that no matter how it goes. Taking the risk, submitting the talk for the first time for a lot of people is the first big hurdle.
I have just done that. So
Did you?
I just submitted a talk to B-Sides in Oklahoma City for the very first time. And it's I can tell you, and my brother can tell you, that it's one of those things that I thought about, and when I clicked submit and did my intro and everything, I broke out in flop sweat, and it hasn't even been accepted yet, but I'm like, I was like, holy crap, I have to talk in front of people, and I have to do this thing, and I have to do, but you have to be able to, especially in this industry, you have to be able to move forward, because just sitting and doing one thing is going to make you that old man in an office, and you're not going to be wise. You're going to know a thing.
Yep. And I think that the wise people in the audience will understand that no talks are perfect.
Yeah.
And there's a ton of value in giving someone that first experience. And even if things don't go totally to plan, you can learn a tidbit or two, and you're going to have to look it up afterwards anyways to follow up on these things. So,
even here, there have been people they've said some things, and I'm like, whatever. But like, still learning, still saying something. You're still out there doing this, and
community, right?
This is not an easy thing to do. So I appreciate it, and I'm hopeful that my talk gets accepted to B-Sides. But if it doesn't, at the same time, I applied to do a talk at B-Sides. So,
dude, that's pretty sick.
Yeah,
for sure. If anybody's out there ready to take their first thing, if it's submitting a talk for the first time, and you'll be okay. Are you okay?
Yeah, I am okay. Yeah, no, absolutely. I would. Not force you, but do it. Submit the thing. The worst they're going to say is no, and no will probably be, if you're as nervous as I was, no would probably be the best thing that happens. But if they say yes, realize that your idea was solid and your foundation was solid, and you're going to have to stand in front of hopefully a ton of people. But if not, you're going to have a handful of people ready to listen to you.
Yep. Sometimes you got to take those risks. I've absolutely, my first few conference talks, I put effort into the submission, but I was praying it wouldn't get selected.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of was like, just say no, but that's. But at the same time, it's one of those things where I talked to my brother, and I was like, I just submitted it, and now I have to flesh out the entire talk, just in case they say yes, because I had a very good outline, but I don't have the whole 35 minutes.
Well, good thing is once you do that, you can then submit it to other places, and you're ready to go.
Yeah.
You can iterate over time as well.
Absolutely.
Give it to different groups.
Continue to grow. You just got to keep growing.
It's a growth mindset.
Yep.
If things don't go good, you can still learn from it, and you're going to be okay. And maybe don't post your password to your company's thing.
Yeah,
Exceptions,
don't send your password to anybody. Nobody wants your social security number.
There's some stuff to be aware of, but generally, mistakes we can learn from.
Yep.
If we take risks and they don't work out, it's gonna be okay. And you mentioned how scary it was to do and how relatable that is. Dude, I remember I wrote a chapter in the PowerShell conference book for volume 2, and I chose REST APIs, which was newer to me. I did write a module for it, but it was newer. And dude, that was a lot for me to do. I cried over that because it was so overwhelming. I ended up doing it in the end.
Not gonna lie, I changed my shirt after I submitted, because it was one of those things where I came out and there's flop sweat everywhere, and I'm at home where it doesn't matter what I look like, and I'm like, holy crap, this is bad.
Yep.
It is pressing that submit button for the first time is something different.
Yep. It really is. But hey, at the end of it, you realize, okay, it's all right.
Yeah. And now it doesn't matter. If they say yes, they say yes. If they say no, they say no.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's been interesting to see firsthand that seriously it is what we're saying. Actually. Because people say things like wise phrases and you hear it okay, that's probably true. But then when you actually see it play out time and time again,
put it into practice, it's way different.
The stuff you're talking about, straight facts.
Yep.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you for joining me on the PowerShell podcast.
Andrew, thank you.
Call me PH.
Yes, sir. STEPHEN.
That's right. Do you want to plug anything social media wise?
First last name is on LinkedIn, and I'm actually going to launch something called Control-Alt-Gen X. So look for that here shortly.
Cool.
ControlAltGenX.com.
Whenever I post this on LinkedIn, if you follow me at Andrew Pla Tech already, just comment on it. Or I'll tag you on it, and I'll be able to find you there as well.
Yes, sir.
In the show notes. So awesome. Well, thank you everybody for listening, and we got more bar sessions coming up. Awesome. Thank you, Steven. That was so much fun.
Dude, thank you.
This is the PowerShell Podcast.
Most of you know the PowerShell Podcast is sponsored and made possible by PDQ. I've had questions from listeners asking, what's PDQ and what do you do? Well, we help IT teams automate endpoint management. PDQ Connect is our cloud-based tool for real-time software deployment, patching, scripting, remote access, and vulnerability management. It's fast, flexible, and built for people who just want things to work. If you want to see it in action, head to pdq.com/podcast and check out our interactive demo. No signups, no emails, no credit card, just a fast and easy way to explore how it works. That's pdq.com/podcast. Automated endpoint management that doesn't slow you down.
Now, back to the PowerShell Podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the PowerShell Podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Pla, at Andrew Pla Tech. You can find me on all socials. I post videos all the time, and I'm here to have a very good time. You know what? I practiced this intro a couple times tonight. I've done a few bar sessions, but I'm here with Sean Wheeler and Steven Judd. Hello, friends. Have I had enough caffeine?
Hello, Andrew.
I'm a Diet Coke fiend.
I was gonna say, how much caffeine have you had? Because that intro was quick.
I've done it a couple times.
You've done it a few times?
Just a couple
Yeah.
these days.
Yeah.
How many times do I like saying my own name? I
You're
don't
starting
know.
to sound like I talk when I get tired and I fall into my more St. Louis habits because I grew up in St. Louis, and people from St. Louis can talk pretty fast. They like spit some vowels.
I should do the not bingo, but the bidding.
The video.
The auction callers. That's it. Yeah. Good old auctioneer. Yeah.
Hey, PowerShell, let's go PowerShell.
Yeah, that's right. I could maybe automate it. I don't know. But
I got a parameter. You got a parameter.
I haven't introduced you guys. The people haven't heard it. You guys are newer to the community, so I wanted to introduce.
Oh, here we go.
You were Steven, what was it?
It's Judd, J-U-D. J-U-D-D.
J-U-D-D. Okay, Steven Judd and Shane Whaler or?
Sean?
Oh, it's a Sean.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me about that. Sorry, Sean. How dare I? But welcome.
Right.
It's glad to have you here for
Yep.
maybe the first time, maybe, I don't know, the 10th time. We're not keeping track.
I didn't realize
Judd
we were
is.
going
We're not keeping score or anything.
Judd is.
Oh,
you know.
no, he is. Also, I didn't realize we were going on the comedy late night roast podcast here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I get people to agree, and then I put them
that?
live.
Yeah. Well, did you write it yourself? Because if you write it yourself, we'll do it live.
It's AI.
Oh, it's AI?
Yeah.
It's a little dicey. Speaking of AI, PowerShell Wednesday was today, and Sean, you were getting ready to give an excellent session, which I want to talk about after. But James Petty, Steven Judd joined me for PowerShell Wednesday in Spiceworld, in the corner of a room, in the back of an alley, behind the building. We did it. And we actually talked about a little bit of AI a little bit. You know, we talked about how you can't just trust the output from AI and some of the stuff that it may do that's not best practice, like params, right? No parameters, just static coding things.
Yep.
And that sort of ties on what you guys talked about, right? A little bit of parameter validation.
Right. So I've been thinking about that since we talked about it earlier. And I was like, the conversation, it was even a conversation at one of the topics here, is people are talking about, well, hey, you can't trust AI. You can't trust AI. But someone somewhere has to learn the right way to do things. And the way you learn the right way to do things is someone else has already done the right way to do things, and then they write it down for you. And, this is where I'm going to...
Sounds like a job.
It does sound like a job. So as I was setting up Sean, because we do that to each other, it's like, that is the value of the documentation. And it is also why Get Help is one of the tripod, at least in my book, which
Yep.
what I termed it, right? So, you got to know what you have, get command, but you got to know how to use it, get help. And if nobody ever writes anything down and nobody ever bothers to spend time on it, where do we think that the large language models are getting their quote unquote knowledge from? Well, they're getting them from sites they've scraped and documentation they've taken. We need more good examples so that we don't get garbage.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different large language models out there that you can interact with. But the real sauce in AI is train it with your own data or train it for the specific data that you want it to know about. And at Microsoft, we're training our models on our documents that we write. And so if you're using our models, you're getting better answers because it's coming from our documentation.
So when you say your models, which models are we talking
Well, like Copilot, and
Okay.
a good specific example, Copilot in Azure is trained specifically on our Azure docs, including Azure PowerShell docs, and it's an expert in that. You'll get good answers
Yep.
about how to do stuff with Azure PowerShell.
Yep.
You know, sorry, I was going to say, every single time I use Copilot for something PowerShell or Azure related, I whisper to myself, "Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Mike." I do every time.
The other thing is, people are going to Copilot or ChatGPT, whatever, and they're doing prompt engineering and chat sessions with it. And you're not necessarily going to get good answers from it because you're not asking good questions. You need to spend the time to set up the agent to tell it exactly what you want and how verbose you want it to be, and you can tune it a little better to get better answers from it. But what I find, I don't use the chat interface as much as I use GitHub Copilot and Visual Studio Code.
Yep.
And I get better results as I'm typing code. It's suggesting code to me, and it's better code than I would have gotten out of chat.
Yeah, because you don't have to feed it the context each time you change a line. Like it has all
Right.
that kind of built in.
And what I've seen what's really cool is you want to write a script to do something, plan out your script first by writing comments.
Oh my gosh.
And
I was just about to comment on this.
yeah, you write out your comments, and then you go back in and start filling in your code between the comments. Okay, in this section I'm going to do this or whatever. And as you're typing, Copilot already has that context from your comments, and it writes better code to meet your requirements.
I like that.
So if you're using comment-based outlining, you can really pound out some code.
Yeah.
Is what I just heard.
Yes.
Dude, I had it written down. When Judd made his comment, Steven pounded his chest because Steven laughed at your joke. Dude, see, we're kind of like aligned right now, man. Well, I'm happy we had some professional talk. We got to wrap it up, or can we pivot to some less profesh? Some bar session-esque.
Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
we're
Because
doing
we're at the
bar
end of the
sessions?
episode. Well, we
All right,
have,
let's roll.
Yeah, bar session. We have a proper podcast we're going to record tomorrow where we'll get into some more nitty-gritty details and talk about some more stuff. But these are my friends, we go to a lot of conferences together. So good to catch up with you all. And we got to talk about the $3 challenge. So we actually have a live audience here watching us in person right now. And they've been wanting to hear, what is the $3 challenge? Is Judd like a gambler? Judd the gambler? Or what's the $3 challenge?
Judd apparently is a person with lacking impulse control. And it wasn't about the $3. So the $3 challenge. $3 challenge is when you're going up some escalators and Andrew says, "I'll give you $3 if anyone can go up the wrong escalator." Or go up the down escalator. And in my head, the way I think of myself as I was in my 20s and 30s. Reality has not yet set in on me, and I get rudely awakened every once in a while, especially when there's $3 on the line.
I know, and I do owe you. You did get to the top.
I need my money. Where's my $3?
I only have
Don't
20.
don't make me send the newspaper boy after you.
Oh no.
And if anybody knows that reference, thank you very much. I want my $2 plus tip.
Plus tip, here's
Plus
$5, my
All
friend.
right, great. Now I'll change.
Thanks.
Who's got change?
Wow, $5.
What kind of
man.
economy is this? So anyway, I got a few steps in, and I was like, I'm doing this. A little light on my feet.
Yeah, you were-
moving up the stairs, like no problem. It's the landing that's apparently a problem.
But you landed at the top.
I
very
made
least.
it off the stairs.
Yes.
Let's just say it that way.
Oh, it could have gone bad, actually, right?
I could have been sliding back
no.
down those stairs in dismay
Those people who aren't here, they don't know the escalators have been like broken here and there the entire time.
the entire time.
That would have been terrible if like we break it for the last, because the other one next to it, the one that we walked up, that was not it wasn't moving.
Yeah.
You went on the only one that was working, which was coming down.
So,
man.
so yes. So I tripped. Actually, the truth is, I don't know how I felt. I must have missed the landing
You
somehow.
were thinking about those $3.
and how I was going to spend them and how I needed bandages.
Yeah.
I think is where I was going with that. Yeah. So I missed the last step. My feet slipped out from under me and I went down. And as soon as I hit the ground, I started laughing because I was like, no, that crap's funny. Here I am trying to show off. And I don't know, am I older than you?
No.
Okay. I know it's close. So I'm not the oldest person around, but I'm still the silliest, apparently.
And I think it's, dude,
Is there video?
there is a video of it. I didn't want to, post it for you, but we can look at it
I'm
afterwards.
gonna have to look at it and decide how much of my reputation I want to have destroyed.
I know, I agree with you. We can leave it as a lost tape, and maybe one day, when we reach 100,000 subscribers.
Like, here's what I need to do. I need to take that video and put it into AI. And when I get to the end, instead of falling down, I launch into the sky like Superman. That would be epic.
That would be, and you just fly out
just
like through the building,
straight through
like
the
gone.
Sora could
They
do that
have
for
that.
you.
Yeah.
They I think they do have like some kind of filter that does
It
that.
figures that Sora would be good at flying,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So
There
I
we
got
go.
it.
Soaring
So
in.
yes, I do have, apparently, thank you, Steven, I have napkins here because my elbow is a little shiny.
The escalator made you bleed your own blood? Oh no. I see it, man. But I think that it is a testament. I mean, okay, this is kind of a reach. This first part isn't a reach. Maybe the end part is a reach, but you tell me at the end. I think that it is interesting because sometimes in life people are going to fall on their face, so to speak. It was a little bit more literal in your case. We were talking earlier with the other Steven about, sometimes maybe you submit a talk, it doesn't get accepted, or there's an issue with your script, you got to fix it, whatever. That kind of thing happens. You'll fall on your face, so to speak. But when you did, were the people around you, were they, oh, you're so bad? Or we were a little nice, we were like not trying to, and that's what's going to happen in different contexts, not necessarily literally falling, but those around you are going to be there to pick you up. That's what community is.
That's right. I do remember no one picked me up.
Well,
It's too much
I was
of a shock.
videoing.
Now, to be fair,
Well, you were laying. You made the scene.
I hit the ground.
It was graceful.
I hit the ground pretty hard. And then I quickly looked at my phone to see if I shattered my phone because I had it in my hand because I was worried about it popping out as I was doing something stupid going up the stairs. And phone was fine. And so then I bopped right up.
Dude, that's...
And I'm not hurt. I just skinned my elbow a little bit.
You did all that just for the metaphor of sometimes you can fall on your face and be okay.
Heck yeah.
That is a true PowerShell hero.
You know what? And, besides being, if you've ever seen me at a conference, I'm a clown. And I don't take myself seriously. And doing that kind of stuff, to me, it's partially hilarious and partially embarrassing. It would have been so much better had I landed it, but I didn't. And so now I have a story, right?
Yep.
And it's okay, well, how do you look at work? You don't want to look like a total clown at work. So I take my work a lot more seriously. So I don't go running upstairs and do risky stuff at work because this is my professional reputation. But my personal reputation, let's have some fun.
Absolutely.
I ride bikes. I've wiped out on bikes before. When I went to Colorado in July, it was the very last run of the very last day, and I was running late to get to an orchestra concert, and so I needed to get off the mountain, and I wiped out.
Yep.
And I was like, why did I wipe out? It's because I was in a rush, and I was going fast and beyond my skill.
That's right. Sometimes
and so, besides a slightly stinging shower, no damage done.
I thought they called you runs with scissors.
Who calls me runs with scissors?
Runs up escalators, I think was. It rhymes.
Great. Now I have a Native American name. It's not runs like the wind. It's runs up the escalators.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Oh,
I think what you said though earlier about, don't take yourself too seriously. And that's a sign to me of confidence and of someone who's more developed. If you are so worried about not looking perfect in someone else's perspective of you, you may not have the strongest self-image of you. Whereas if you are that person who is a leader, you can fall on your face, laugh at yourself, show people that, wow, this person who I respect can do it. Oh, I can do it too. And you can really open up an area for safety for other people to a certain extent. It's kind of weird. You can model the behavior of I don't think you meant to, but it really is that kind of thing. I've had so many cringy, hilarious, terrible moments, and I'm the same way. I think in the last podcast with Frank, I shared a bunch of just such cringy moments, but it happens. It happens to all of us.
I want to know, is Skibbity Bobbity on the list?
What did I say? Is it on the list? No. What was on the list? And I'll give it briefly here. Did I tell you guys the elevator story?
The elevator story?
Yeah.
Does it involve going up it backwards?
No.
Oh, it's an elevator, not an escalator. Sorry, I got confused there for a second.
Oh, well, I mentioned it on an earlier pod. I'll tell you, I'll hear it as well. So I was at a conference, MMS in Nashville. And day one of a conference, if it's in the same hotel.
Oh, I've heard this.
You heard this story, yeah.
I have not heard it.
It's not my favorite.
No pre-laughing.
Wait, where'd you hear it?
On the podcast.
On the pod? Okay.
Oh, I haven't read. Oh, so
You heard
it's
it.
Frank's podcast.
It was from Monday. You were here. What were you doing? When did you hear it? Like, what were you doing when you listened?
Monday night.
Just chilling?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Appreciate that.
Hey,
Yeah.
we keep up to date with you.
Oh,
Andrew.
yeah.
We're friends.
Shout out. And everyone out there, you should as well.
Okay,
Welcome to PowerShell
I am
Podcast.
a week behind. Go ahead. I want to hear the
you're a week
elevator
behind.
story.
That's all right. So MMS conferences, if you're in the same hotel as the conference center, about 8 a.m., a little bit before, everyone goes because it starts at 8, right? So I'm maybe 7:50, kind of heading down the escalator or elevator, excuse me. Thank you for that. And we're on the 15th floor, go down, bunch of people get on. So I'm kind of crumped. Some ladies behind me, and I want to be respectful and not like bump into her or make her choose to bump. So I scoot forward a little bit more. I bump the front of the elevator panel, and then about 5 seconds later, we hear, brrr, brrr, brrr. Loss prevention, how may I help you? And I'm just like, wait, no, that wasn't me, right? And I look down at my hand, and in front of my right fist is the lit up elevator call button. And then they say it again, loss prevention, how may I help you? And I have to say, someone accidentally pressed the button, you can hang up. Sorry, what? Someone accidentally pressed the button, you can hang up. And this was about 15, 16 people in there, and it was dead silent. It's awkward first day. Everyone's kind of like making a good first impression. And that was embarrassing on its own. Kind of funny, I laughed at it. Later on in the day, like you were saying earlier, like I was sharing that story with other people, telling them like, hey, don't bump into the button. Earlier today, I did it, and it was so embarrassing. And just open it up, having some fun. Only 4 of us on the elevator. Well, they get off on floor like 8 or something like that. And as the door's closing, you can barely see it. And they work for a company that a lot of people like, a very big game company that kind of cool, right? I'd love to have their swag kind of thing.
Sure.
As it's almost closing, I just hear them say, I can't believe we ran into elevator call guy. And then it shuts.
Elevator call guy.
Yeah.
Dude, it killed me.
Okay.
You sound like a Seinfeld character.
Wait,
Dude, it was bad.
we're twins now. Because I'm escalator fall guy.
Dude! Brother from another mother. What? We are one and the same, dude. What is going on?
Hey, have you seen elevator call guy? Nope, but I ran into escalator fall guy.
Oh no! Everybody needs
Or he
a
ran
fall
into
guy.
me.
He ran into you as he was falling off the escalator.
Dude, this is, I'm so happy everyone out there and in this room right now, there's a lot of people watching us here. I'm so glad that they could see this universal moment where the stars aligned. He's here because he posted and he needed a ticket and I had a ticket.
Who's he?
Steven.
Oh,
Steven
okay.
Engler, previous. The
sorry.
other Steven.
Call me PH.
Gestured.
Oh, sorry, Steven. Oh,
Okay.
yeah, we're in a room. There's a lot of people here. Sorry about that, everybody who's listening. But it's been sometimes at conferences like that, it seems like everything's happening. You're with your people.
Yeah.
They don't always happen as fortunate as an elevator call and an escalator fall guy, but you never know. When you put yourself out there, you plant those seeds in the world, cool things can happen. And at the very least, you'll be happy you took a risk and you won't have that regret of never having tried. Well, shoot, let's go to the piano
I was
bar.
waiting for Sean's phone to ring. Because then he could be the call guy.
Yeah.
Telephone call guy. Okay, it didn't happen.
No, sorry.
If I was smart, I'd be over here, with my phone, be like calling. But I'm only partially smart, apparently.
No, they have some good basketball in town. Maybe we get a tall guy? I don't know. Let's get out of here. We got to stop. I can't. Steven Judd, this is bad. We're bad influences.
I'm sucking you into my world here.
No, it's been
jokes.
so fantastic. And thanks everybody who's tuned in and having fun in the PowerShell community with us. You can be part of this too. We are not special. Yeah. We are just like you. We're good at things, bad at other things, learning along the way, making tons of mistakes, falling on our faces, cringing our way to success. And you can do it with us. Doesn't that sound enticing? Well, awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. This is the PowerShell Podcast Bar Sessions. Every single Monday, new episodes. Check out Steven Judd. Check out Sean Wheeler. And every single time you use Copilot, Say thank you, Sean. Or don't, or just use it. But hey, shout out to everybody. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the PowerShell Podcast. The PowerShell Podcast is a PDQ production, making device management simple, secure, and pretty damn quick.